And welcome here, everyone. Today we have more of Earth's beautiful jewels to share with you. Welcome to the Elegantly Raw Show. And how delightful to have you here today because look at what I have in store for you. This is going to be fun, 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 quick, light, easy, but a liquid meal that will serve you in the most immaculate ways. I am so glad you're here. So let's get right to it, shall we? So look at this table here, what I have in store for you now. Most of you have been with me for a while, know that I don't often do carrots. But when I do, it has to be something really a treat. So today we're using a lot of carrots and we're going to juice them first. Now, why are we juicing carrots? Because we're going to be making this incredible drink using a blender. But before we do the blender, we're actually going to juice this in a juicer. And for that, I hope you can see this. Let me move the blender over so you can see the juicer. This is the Nama juicer. And this juicer I really love because I can do batch juicing with it. This is the J2 Nama juicer. So this is the most recent one. And what I'm going to be doing when I say batch juicing, it means I don't even have to chop up most of these carrots. Most of them can just go in just as they are. I just have to make sure that the carrots aren't too long for the juicer. So you see, this would be too long. This is a really long one. Now, why am I doing carrots? Although I rarely ever do carrots. And the reason why I rarely ever do carrots is because I'm really not big on the carrots in the United States. They don't have much taste, much fragrance. In fact, I don't even smell them. I don't have much fragrance to them. But boy, what I'm making today, they're going to really make a difference in this liquid meal. And it is a meal. It's a full-time meal. So I just broke them in two. Here we go. I cut those in two. We're going to put a lot in there. I'm also going to be putting some of these strawberries. Now, when you put the strawberries in, make sure that you keep the top on. So, because there are a lot of nutrients in here. So, you wash this thoroughly first, though. So, because the carrots are heavier, I'm going to put the actual strawberry in first with the top on, of course. And look for the big, fat strawberries like these. They're brand new in the season right now. And oh my gosh, they are just electrifying as far as I'm concerned. I am so happy with them. I'm not going to put too many of them in, but enough to make sure that we've got some of that tartness in there. Because as I said, we're making a liquid meal today. So there are many times in our lives when we need liquid meals. You know, there are often people have surgery or they're sick and their doctors will tell them, oh, you shouldn't be eating, or you need to just stay away from solid foods. And people go, well, what am I going to make? Well, that's because most people aren't aware there's a whole world of juicing and smoothies and blending. And also they're not aware of this particular drink because this is particularly one of my recipes that I've updated recently. So let's start. And here's the beauty. I can just drop them in from the top right here. Now you'll see that the pulp will come out here and the juice will come out at the other end. So let me just put some more in there. There's the pulp. Now look how dry the pulp is. See? But I'm going to use the pulp in another recipe. We're not going to waste the pulp. I see we've got comments already. Let me just put some more carrots in here, and then I'll come to the comments. And maybe I will even put a few more strawberries. Do you notice how quiet this juicer is? Normally, I could never be talking on a show and also doing this, putting the juicer on at the same time and juicing. Now look, it's going to fill up soon, and then I'll empty in here. And I hope you saw that. So I'll go into the comments as soon as I get some more of these carrots in there. And I'm making a lot. The idea is to make a lot. Make an awful lot, and then what you do is you get a big jug or some big bottles like this. You keep this in the fridge with a top, of course. You keep this in the fridge, make sure they're glass bottles. Or you can also use bottles like this one, which is also glass with a top on it. And you can take that wherever you're going throughout the day. You know, if you want to take it to work, if you want to take it to play, if you just want to make sure that you're going to have a meal throughout the day, this is the perfect meal to take with you. Now, why? Because of this wriggly, squiggly little thing here. What is this? This is sea moss. And this is how it comes when it's dried. It comes out of the ocean and then it dried and it ends up looking like this. And this is a nutrient powerhouse. Now, what do I mean by a nutrient powerhouse? Well, because in addition to its high and very high mineral content, in fact, we need the human body at 102 minerals in the body for the body to function efficiently. And I mean also our moods as well, our reproductive system, the iron content. We must have these minerals. And you can't just isolate minerals like you can't isolate vitamins. They have to have a synergistic partner with them. And that's what sea moss does. So in addition to its heavy mineral count, which is 92 out of the 102 minerals that the body needs, it also is full of potassium chloride, and we get some more of these. Now look at these. They're so skinny and some of them are so small. Look at this one. Try to get the big fat ones if you're juicing, but these are the ones that were available right now. And all I wanted was for them to be fresh. It also takes a much, much longer to wash them. And I do, yes, wash them. I prefer to use the Japanese vegetable brush to wash them, or I will use a silicone brush. Now, what's the difference? The silicone brush I use in the summer because it dries very fast and I know there won't be any bacteria on it. So that is why even the things that I use to wash my fruits and vegetables, I do that seasonally. I change them seasonally as well. Everything I do seasonally. Just like I do wear different clothes in the summer from which I wear in the winter. Just like how I have different sheets that I use, different towels. The same thing with our diet and with also the equipment that I use. So in the summer, you'll see me do a lot more fruitary recipes with a lot of fruits. And in the winter, I'll do more meals like this, or when we're transitioning, I will do more liquid meals like this. Why do I do more of that in the winter, more of the juicing in the winter? Because most people do not even realize that they're severely dehydrated. And I do mean severely. Do you see how this just keeps going and going, this machine? Most juices I would have had to stop and empty. Not here, not here, not here, not here. And that's why I really like this juicer. Because I can do this and not think about it. Let's put some more of these strawberries in there, shall we? So I'll just put that in the center there. I'll just drop these in as they are. Because you see this one is already, now this one's I can just pop it like that. Now, some people might say, oh, it takes too long. Those small ones, tiny, skinny ones, too long to wash. Well, that is your opportunity to actually create a relationship with your food. Take that time to really look at the carrot. When you can see the sun and the sunshine and the moon and the stars, and you can see the rain and a rainbow in these carrots, That's when you know you've connected to the part of yourself which is connected to every and all other living things on earth. And so that is a practice that I invite everyone to do when you are washing your food. Don't think, oh, I'm wasting so much time. I don't have time for this. When you're washing a strawberry, look at all of its magnificence. There's so much life that went into this to create this for us that's in the soil. There is so much that we need to give thanks for. So use that time when washing your fruits and vegetables to do exactly that. Now, if you notice, I already have a big jug here already. So I'm going to stop the juicing in a moment so that we can start. Now, I learned from the Japanese when I was studying to be a living food chef. We had some Japanese chefs, and they taught me to clean up everything in between. Don't just keep moving with the stuff still on the table or on the counter. So they taught me that, and I really am so glad because I've learned so much from the Japanese all my life. Now we're opening up the blender. So we just have a few more things to juice. I'm going to use this to just push this down a little bit more. Notice I didn't even need to use this at the beginning, only at the end when I see that some more is sticking there. And then I'm going to put in the sea moss. Now let me talk about the sea moss and mood swings and people who have problems with mental illness. And, you know, it has a lot of potassium in there, but remember, it's all of those minerals as well. But let me turn this off. There we go. So sea moss itself benefits are so widespread, and that's because of all of the essential mineral content in there. And that is really, really important to know. So I'm going to just put this on one more, and I'm going to move this over here. So let me move that. So we're going to move this now over so that you can have a look at what's happening here. Let's just move this over here out of the way. So you see now I've got the juice here. I'm going to put the juice right here. I'm going to move this a little bit to the left. I hope you can still see that. So I have some space to work here. So we're talking about the sea moss and the sea moss gel. So this is the sea moss itself. And the potassium itself helps our body to maintain healthy mental and emotional function. So this is critical. Now, this is what it looks like. And then if you look on my YouTube channel, you'll see that I made a video there teaching how to make it into this gel. Very important to know how. And even if I do say so myself, it's a very thorough video. So why is it important for this potassium? Because the potassium helps our body in so many different ways, and a lack of it can lead to anxiety, irritability, and a lot of depression, because potassium cannot be stored in the body, cannot be stored by the body. So I'm going to be taking some of this out as I continue to talk to you about potassium. So we need an adequate amount of supply of potassium from our food because it cannot be stored in our body. I'm putting a little bit more in here because I'm making a big jug today. And the Irish moss itself packs more potassium than 2 bananas or 3 bananas or 4, depending on where the banana was grown and how ripe it is. And this therefore makes the premier food to help boost our mental health and to uplift our mood. Yes, this wriggly little thing here. Also, it helps support healthy iron levels because the lack of oxygen in the blood results in lower hemoglobin levels and decreased red blood count. And this condition is often diagnosed, especially for a lot of women, especially for a lot of people who are vegans, as anemia. So you want to get this because this is very rich in iron, which helps promote the healthy red blood cell count and support healthy iron levels. What is this? This is turmeric. Excellent for inflammation, but so is the sea moss. Sea moss is amazing. That's why it's so great for joint health. So this one here, I got this one from a company who moved to Nicaragua just to make this. They're from Fiji, but they moved to Nicaragua because the soil there is so incredible for turmeric, and it's all organic. So I'm putting that in it. So we have double the amount for inflammation in here, simply because I'm using both of these two ingredients. Now, I'm putting some vanilla in there, organic vanilla, and make sure that it is pure single fold, that it's not more than that. Now, how much vanilla you put is totally up to you. Also, let me just keep talking to you about your reason to be having all of this sea moss, and why I use sea moss so much in my recipes. So this right now, I'm flavoring it with some mace powder. Don't put too much mace. Be careful how much you put. And the reason is because sea moss is also a natural decongestant. And what is really important to me too is that it is amazing for breaking up mucus in the body. So incredible for the respiratory and lymphatic system to move the mucus out. And that is because it's full of potassium chloride, the omega-3 fats, and chlorophyll, which are the main nutrients responsible for dissolving inflammation or mucus in the respiratory and lymphatic system. This is cinnamon. My cinnamon, I like to get the one from Ceylon, the Ceylon cinnamon. That's the one that I use. So it's organic. Of course, it must be organic, or biodynamic, or well crafted for me to use it. So I take the whole thing. Actually, I have one that I used recently, and I take off the bark like this, and I put it directly in there. And oh, the fragrance! I wish you were here to smell this. And yes, I promised I'd be coming to comments, and I am. This is some cinnamon, which I ground up. Sorry, this is some cardamom, which I ground up beforehand. Usually I use cardamom seeds, but I like to grind them up as well so that I have them all ready. Be careful how much you put in there. You don't want to overdo. And the whole thing about making food is to put just enough and to know when to stop and not have any one flavor overwhelm others. Now, this is something that you got to be careful that you're adding in. A lot of people do not know about hin. And this is supposed to be the best hin ever. Very healing as well. This is an entire liquid meal for healing, but the tastes are going to be incredible. So this is the hin, H-I-N-G, used a lot in Ayurvedic medicine. I studied Ayurveda medicine with the Chopra Center. So that's why I'm doing that. Now, these are nutmeg. So I have a nutmeg grinder here, which I'm going to grind in here. And you've got to make sure it's on correctly before it will grind. So this one seems to, see, it's stuck in here. Got to move it, put it back in here, and then close it off. This is a great way to do it because then it really maintains, oops, sorry, it maintains, now it's a bit dirty, so I'm going to move that. It maintains its integrity. So what I'm going to do is, here's my backup. I always have a backup. You learn when you're a chef to always have backups. And this one, I'm just, see, it's in here. It's kept in here. I'm going to grate this in here. I am a nutmeg lover. Be careful when you're grating this so it doesn't get onto your fingers. If you're the kind of person who usually cuts themselves when they're grating, then I recommend that you get these gloves. These are amazing when you're grating because then you won't cut yourself. So I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So here we go. See, you put the gloves on, and then you will not be cutting yourself at all. At all. Of course, you still have to be mindful. It doesn't mean that you take a lot of chances, but you're just very mindful of what you're doing when you do this. Okay, a little bit more, and I'll put some more at the end. Put it away right away. Keep it fresh. Put it in there. So I've pretty much got everything that I need for this except for the carrot strawberry juice, which I made beforehand. While I'm mixing this, I will go on, I promise you, to look at the comments. So notice I'm not filling this. Never fill it totally and completely. always leave a lot of space for it to move. So this is not the only thing that we're putting in here, because you remember this, the coconut. So I opened it up first. Then you're going to take a knife with a sharp edge. You're going to cut around it like this. This is actually best done on a counter, but I want you to see this. Let me just, for the end of it, put it on the counter, because I do need my other hand to open this up. See, now you got the meat, but I also want the water in there. Remember, I left this on half full only. So now I have the coconut water. Now all I need is to get a spoon. Do not use your ceramic spoon. This is one of the few times I don't use a ceramic spoon. You dig in there and you take out the meat, but I already did that prior to the show. So here's the meat out of another coconut, and I'm putting that in there, and this is adding the fat. Now remember, I added turmeric before. You should never add turmeric to anything unless you have something to absorb it, otherwise it's just a waste. So you have to have either fat in there, a healthy fat only, or black pepper. I do not ever use black pepper because it does irritate the lining of the digestive system. And goodness knows our digestive system is already irritated by all the things we put into it that are not food. So I'm going to put this on, and so that's why I'm using coconut, because of the fat. The fat will help you to absorb the coconut. I'm sorry, help you to absorb the turmeric. So let's look at the comments now while this is happening. Hi, Debbie Kellerman. What brand blender? Oh, so this one, Debbie, this one is the Vitamix, but you can use any blender. I also have the Blendtec, and you can, for this, you can even use a smaller blender, which I'll show you in a moment. And you, Debbie says, so from the carrots, it's just the pulp coming out, no juice. Oh no, the juice was on the other side, Debbie. Yummy strawberries and carrots. Any kale? No, and no greens in here, because I don't, kale is a very harsh and very strong green. I want this for your digestive system, because this is amazing for the digestive system, for the thyroid. I don't want anything that is going to overcompromise or overuse your digestive system. This is to really restore the integrity of your digestive system. So I'm not putting kale. I would never put kale in here. Okay, so I hope you all understood why I'm not using kale. It's too strong and harsh for, so only use kale infrequently. I go for only the tender greens because that's much better for the digestive system. So I know a lot of people love their kale, but if you can find baby kale, that would be preferable. Or if you can grow it in the form of microgreens, then absolutely yes. This is my wiper, which is pure bamboo, so that I can reuse it and also wash it each time. So here you got it. See how creamy and rich it is now? This is extremely creamy. Let me pour it into this glass so you can see this and hear it. Can you hear that? So creamy, so luscious, so delicious, and the scents in here. Now, I'm going to put this glass aside. This is a healing meal. It will also rehydrate you at the same time as it will nourish and nurture you. Look at the magnificence. Can you see all the elements in there? Can you see the sun? Can you see the rain? Can you see also ether, which is also known as space? Can you see the earth, and can you see the fire in here? It's all in here. This is what we're meant to be eating on a regular basis and drinking on a regular basis. So this I was talking about the juicer, and Debbie asked me, what juice am I using? So yes, I'm using I think it was a blender she asked, actually. Let me go back to her question, because I think it was the blender. Was that correct, Debbie? know what brand, juicer and blender, or you wanted both. So I use the Vitamix, but that doesn't mean you have to use this one. You could use the Blendtec as well for this particular recipe. Usually I use this when I'm really doing some really big time stuff. But let me show you another blender. A lot of people have this one in their homes. And even although it's a small blender, and I only use it when I'm making like dressings and things like that, you could actually use this one, the NutriBullet, if you want it as well, particularly for this particular liquid meal. So you don't have to have a very expensive blender for this one. That's the great news, but I like my things creamy and smooth. That's why I use the Vitamix blender today. The juicer is by Nama Juicer. This is by Nama, Nama, and this one is the actual J2, which is the new one. Now look at the pulp. I'm going to show you why I so like this juicer. Do you see how firm it is? It comes out like this. That's how firm it is, because it has taken out so much of the moisture and the juice from it. So this I can make now into a carrot cake, which I'm going to be making on the show at some point in some time. Now, could I have put some of this in there, some ginger? Absolutely, yes, you could put some ginger in there, but not too much. So look what I'm going to do now. I'm going to peel it, because this is how I like it in here. So because this is a liquid meal, I can do this. I don't see this as a juice, but some people, of course, could see this as a juice. But because of the nutrient value of this, I don't see that. So I was talking about the digestive health and how important this particular recipes for digestive health, but this is also incredible for thyroid support, for reproductive support. You know, many men in certain countries, especially in the Caribbean, they use sea moss for their reproductive health. And women who've had severe menstrual cramps and perimenopause have used sea moss and have claimed that it works wonders for them. So I'm just cutting this up a wee bit. Actually, I'm going to almost break it up because I want to put it in the juice. Now, will this flavor seep into the juice? If I cut it tiny enough, then yes, it will. But I also actually like to eat bits and pieces of it if it's small enough in there. So that's why I'm doing this. So I'm putting this on top here now. See? And take off the skin. Make sure you do remove the skin. I did wash this before, but for it to really taste well, you have to take the skin off and put that in there. Maybe I'll put some in the other cup as well. Here's the other cup. So let me move this away. Again, I learned from the Japanese to clear things off and clear things away. Now, at the very end, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put some of this cardamom on top, like this. Sprinkle a little bit. Don't put too much. It will overwhelm you. So notice I put more in here than in here, because this glass is a lot more than that. And then I'm going to just drizzle a little bit of this nutmeg on top, like, because I love nutmeg. And this is going to just make it just, oh, scream taste and flavor, and oh, just incredible lusciousness. Always put it back right away. Keep everything fresh. Always keep everything fresh. So here we go. You've got one drink here. You've got another one here. But remember, we also had in here strawberries. So if you wanted, you could actually cut a strawberry and put it on here as well. It's totally up to you. But look, this is to your health and your wealth, because your health is your wealth. And this is something which I find is so appealing to many people who are suffering from all kinds of ailments. And the reproductive support that you get from this is truly remarkable. And the digestive health, and, you know, all of the different problems that people tell us that we have, it's really not a problem because nature has given us everything we need to undo it. So look to nature for your healing. I look forward to seeing more of you here next week when we again go into another elegantly raw recipe. L'chaim, bon appétit.